Today we're in the chicken yard and we have a really good DIY video for you all about nest boxes. So we're going to show you two kinds of nest boxes today. One which is like a semi-DIY and the other which is a full-on 5-gallon bucket hack. So let's get into how to do your own nest boxes. When you first start off your journey in farm fresh eggs and chickens, some people buy a coop that's already made, like we did with this coop. And these coops typically come with a nest box already set up. These work really well. If you go this route, it's a nice easy way to get started, up and running, getting farm fresh eggs. Ooh, I just dropped one. Back off, it's mine. Other people, when going the farm fresh egg route, instead of buying a coop like the red one, they do what we did with this yellow building and convert an existing building into a chicken coop, or maybe even build one from scratch. And when you're doing that, you have to decide what you're going to do for the nest boxes. In just a few weeks, we have some new chicks coming. Those chicks need to go in the red coop, which means we have to bump all our egg layers out of the red coop and get them to go into this yellow coop. The yellow coop is big enough for everybody, but it doesn't have enough roost space or nest boxes. So today we're going to start addressing the nest box problem. In setting up your nest boxes, you do need to make sure you have enough nest boxes for all your chickens. That doesn't mean one nest box per chicken. Generally, you'll see that the chickens pick 1 or 2 nest boxes to be their favorite, and they all lay in that space. So as long as we have, for our group of chickens, a few different options for them, they'll be okay. We don't need to set up 15 nest boxes. Right now this coop is set up for 1 roost. We have 1 nest box in here, but it's a pretty large coop. It can hold all the birds. The most limiting factor to any coop is really its roost space, how much space you have on the roost. Right now we have about 8 feet of roost space, which is good for about 8 chickens. We have like 16 chickens, so we need a second full-length roost, which means this nest box has to go up higher. You don't want your nest box under the roost because then all the chickens will poop on the nest box. So we're gonna bump this nest box up into the corner. Let's get to work. These nest boxes you get at like Tractor Supply, you can get them on Amazon. We'll put a link below. These are great, they work fantastic, and you can screw them in real quick, boom, they're up. And then if you have to move them, like you saw, it just took me 1 minute to move this thing. That's a lot harder to do with like a wooden nest box. So I really like using these because we've used these ones, we've moved them 1,000 times and they're just easy to work with. I'll put a link below for these nest boxes. That baby is finished. That's how quickly you can hang these nest boxes. Now what if you don't want to buy one? What if you want to DIY it? I got a good DIY trick for you for another nest box option. Let's go do that. You can turn a 5-gallon bucket into a nest box. This is a really simple trick. And if you want to DIY it, you can save a little bit of money. These are like $3 at Tractor Supply. But, you know, the best way to do it, if you have an old one lying around, you know, that's perfect. What you're gonna do is you're gonna be cutting about halfway back and halfway down, just this section off. It'll make more sense when I show you what it is. And then you put half of a lid back on it. And so they have a nice enclosed area to hop up inside, a little bit of hay, but they still have a roof back here. So let me show you what I mean. I brought this outside to show you. It's a little easier to film outside. We're gonna cut the bucket out here and then we're gonna bring it back in and mount it, and I'll show you how to mount it. Essentially, what we're gonna do is we're gonna be cutting back as far as this line right here, cutting a notch, in the top so the chicken can fly up and then crouch down in behind here. You'll see on these buckets, they have that little extra meat there for the handle. I'm gonna go just above that on either side, back to this line, just above that to this line, okay? Okay, I got my straight line down. Now I'm gonna cut back at it so I have room to turn the Sawzall blade. You can see I've cut that triangle notch. That's just so I could work my blade and come back this way. That's the basic idea, that right there. Now I gotta clean this edge up just a little bit. So this is the basic idea of the 5-gallon bucket nesting box. You have enough room for the chicken to fly up full height and then kind of crawl into the bucket there. You have your hay back in there, and this is the little roost area where they fly up onto. We've never used one of these before, but I've seen them done plenty of times, and I figured it'd be fun to try out a DIY version of a nest box. Save a little money by using some stuff we already have. Now let's show you how you're gonna mount these. To mount these, all you need is a couple screws and a couple washers. Let's go into the barn and we're gonna hang this on the wall. The chicken's already back using the nest box that we moved. Let's see if any of the chickens start using the new nest box. We'll do like a versus here. We'll compare to see if chickens prefer this guy versus the bucket. Oh, I'm sorry, are we bugging you? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Something I said? We're gonna mount this right next door. Mostly just, you know, for efficiency's sake, for egg collection. When you come out, it's nicer if they're close versus having this way at the other end of the coop. To mount it, we're using exterior screws and some big washers. We're just gonna put these screws through the washers, and a few of those at the back of this should help hold it up. The holes on these washers were just a little bit too big, so I used a smaller washer around the head of the screw, and that smaller washer will then lock in the larger washer. There it is. We're gonna put a few more of those in to add some more strength to it. The last step to this DIY nest box is to put a lid on the bucket and then cut that lid. That'll keep all the hay and the eggs from just sliding out and falling onto the coop floor. Just like that. Perfect. That's just right, just what we want. A lower front, a little bit high on the sides, and the chicken can get right in there. Now we're gonna make the bed. Put some hay in there. Give the chickens the idea that this is an option for them. I got a couple eggs from the other coop. Chickens are like, you know, high school kids, very susceptible to peer pressure. Once they see one cool chicken's doing it, all of them are gonna wanna do it. She's laying her eggs in there. Oh, well, I gotta lay my eggs in there. So that's it. 2 nest boxes, DIY style. This one a semi-DIY and that one a full-scale DIY. We'll update you later. We'll watch and see how the chickens like these two, and we'll let you know if this option actually works well or if the chickens all prefer this one. And yeah, so stay tuned for that. Hope you liked this video. If you did, be sure to sign up to our email list. YouTube doesn't send all our videos to all our subscribers, but everybody on that email list every Friday gets all of our videos, all of our podcasts, all the news first, so sign up there.